Good morning. I want to talk about the importance of having your passport. This is 2016, and I got my passport last year because I was going on a cruise and I didn't want to cross the waters without my passport. Even though if you take a cruise, you don't have to have a passport. You know, you can go with a birth certificate, other forms of proof of ID, but I'm going to tell you why I think that it's very important to have your passport when you're taking a cruise, especially. We got off the boat, and I believe we were in Turks Caicos, okay? So we get off the boat, and everybody's like, oh, we're finally here, because that was one of my favorite spots that I wanted to go on. I had been wanting to go for the longest. We get off the boat, and we see some people yelling and screaming like, this lady, man, this really strong lady, she was helping this guy. She was pulling him. She was one of the workers, the rescue workers, and he was with us. And she was helping them get this man to safety. Basically, he went out there and was doing some like Rough Rider tricks and stuff on these, I guess, three-wheelers, four-wheelers, what they call them, like ATVs or whatever it is. You know what I'm talking about. So he went out there and did a flip or something in there. They said that they flipped over on him, and they had a towel over his face. Like, you could see his skin like peeled back. So it just wasn't good. So my point here is that he didn't have a passport. His wife didn't have a passport. Nobody in his crew had a passport. And so the rules are different when you go to other parts of the world. And I don't know if this is 100% true, but I had heard while I was still on the cruise that they wouldn't allow his wife to sit in the hospital with him because she didn't have the proper documentation. He had to miss the boat, and then they had to find a way to get back to the States. So, it made it more difficult because they didn't have a passport. So, people will tell you, oh, you don't need to get a passport when you take a cruise to go here, there, and there. But the truth of it is that if anything happens to you and you have to get life flighted or, rushed out or go, to go somewhere, to go to a hospital if you have an emergency, they can't just haul off and just do certain things because you don't have a passport. So, if you are getting ready to take a cruise this year, don't let anybody just tell you, just come on, dude, just come on, because you don't have to have that passport. You don't have to have it. But in all situations, you want to be safe and happy that you have it, opposed to you not having it. I purchased my passport last year, and all my friends had already had passports, so I was like the last one coming in on the string. So I was like, I'm definitely not going without it. I'm glad I got it, and then I encouraged my mom to get it, and she got hers. So, it's time. Don't let anybody tell you, oh, you don't need it. In general, in life in general, just go ahead. Excuse me, my eyes itching. Go ahead and just get it. It depends on when you see this message, but I believe I paid like almost $200 for mine through the post office because I didn't want it to be late, so I paid for expedited services. I know a lot of people that didn't pay for expedited services and they got theirs the same amount of time that I did. So I just didn't take any chances, but I guess it's gonna roughly cost you about $130, $135. So even if you gotta just save your money up out of a few checks or whatever you have to do until you can reach your goal, get your passport. And I've also been researching it. They're saying now that you're going to need your passport to for domestic travel in the airport. Now, I will tell you this. Ever since I got my passport, I don't use my state driver's license. I don't use it when I go like to the airport and stuff. Because sometimes, like especially with Texas, we have all of these different things on our driver's license and people have to sit there and scan it. The machine doesn't want to read it properly. So what I do is I just take out my passport. You can't get no more verified than that. Y'all see that I'm legal, I'm here. You know what I mean? And I have verification, so I think that you should just go ahead and get it, because if they do require it for domestic travel, it's gonna be a mess. So just go ahead, fall in line, and get your passport. Go to the You can go to the post office website. You can go directly to the post office. They have applications. Just go to the counter, ask them for an application. Make sure they do not rush you when you ask them questions. If you have questions about how to fill out that long application, fill it out. I know you're going to need proof of date of birth. You're going to need like an original copy or a verified copy of your birth certificate. You're going to need your state or local, driver's license or ID. I don't know if I had to use my social security card, but most likely you will need it. Make sure you find that. If you don't have those things, you need to ask them what the alternative requirements are for documentation so you can get that. And so when you go to the post office, make sure you ask them how much the money orders will be for, because you're going to need 2 separate money orders. One is to send off the application, and then the other one is going to be a portion of the money order for them. So you're going to need 2 money orders or 2 checks. So make sure you get all the proper information, because I've seen people hundreds of times when I'm standing in line at the post office go back and be like, oh, here's everything, I'm ready for my appointment. And they're like, well, why do you only have 1 money order? Why do you not have this? Why do you not have that? Make sure you find out what you need before it's time for you to go to this appointment, because sometimes it depends on where you live. Like, I live in Houston. It's hard trying to get certain things done because you got 17,000 people in front of you. So, I don't believe in redos, man. I like doing stuff right the first time. And I did. So I was proud of myself for that. So if you have any, questions, look at the website and see. But you guys, I encourage you to engage in a conversation below and talk about your benefits, because just because you have a passport and just because you probably have had your passport a decade, there is somebody that's probably watching this right now that doesn't have a passport, doesn't know what a passport is, and it's okay. We all have to start somewhere. So I'm here to bring the word for the people that's starting somewhere, because last year I had to start somewhere, even though I conducted my research before I got the passport like years in advance, because I always wanted one, but I just felt like it was like something that you just had to be privileged to have. I don't know what my mindset was then, but there is no privilege. As long as you're a citizen and you got the proper documentation, go get you a passport. I honestly believe that you are going to need it in the near future, and it is something that you need to go ahead and just invest in. Like I said, if you got to take 3 of your checks and take $35 out of each check until you can get the money to do it, no matter what kind of budget you own, just do it, man. You're going to need it. And then once you get it and you open it up, it's like, oh, you feel like that's your key to the world. You start planning stuff you don't even know is in your budget. You be like, yeah, I want to go over here. I want to go over there. And then you find ways to start to make it work. So, having a passport, being a passport holder is definitely something that you need to do. So, all right, y'all, I just wanted to bring that message because travel season is approaching us. It is here. So, if you have any questions, like personal questions for me, just go ahead and post them below. Tell someone to subscribe. I'm very random. I tell y'all that all the time. Just have a wonderful day. I hope this video helped you. Bye.